Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are wading into a topic that I think is a huge source of stress for so many
Oh,
people.
for sure. We're talking about exercise, but maybe not in the way you'd expect.
Right, we're talking about the pressure, that unrelenting pressure to stick to the old way of doing things, the hour-long, all-or-nothing gym
The
session.
grind.
The grind, exactly. Okay, let's just get right into this because I think everyone listening can relate. You're trying to manage this internal conflict. You know you should be moving, but life just gets in the way.
Mm.
Especially after 45. I mean, life gets so much busier. You're juggling a demanding job. Maybe you're looking after aging parents. You've got family commitments.
You're sandwiched.
Totally. And the sources we looked at, they speak directly to this crisis of time. But it's more than that, isn't it? It's the guilt that comes with it.
The guilt is huge. That
Mhm.
feeling of stiffness, the low energy.
Mhm.
You want to be active, but every single time you miss that scheduled hour-long workout, you just feel bad.
You feel like a failure.
Exactly. And on top of that psychological stress, you have this really pervasive belief that the small stuff doesn't count. That 5 or 10 minutes here and there is basically pointless.
And that right there, that is the myth we're here to just completely tear down today.
Yeah.
This idea that exercise must be long to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an outdated model. It's rigid, and frankly, it just leads to burnout and people giving up.
It leads to inconsistency, which is the real enemy here.
Yes. So if you're constantly feeling like you're failing because your life just doesn't have room for that 1 hour block 3 times a week, this deep dive is for you. This is your permission slip to just let that go.
Our mission today is to completely reframe what effective movement can look like. We're going to unpack the real quantifiable downsides of that 1 hour gym grind, and then we're going to introduce a much simpler, more sustainable, and scientifically backed alternative.
The movement snack method.
The movement snack method.
And there's a really surprising scientific hook here that we pulled from the research. The evidence suggests that for things like longevity, metabolic health, especially after 45, short, frequent bursts of activity can actually match
Or even exceed.
or even exceed the benefits of those big, infrequent sessions, especially when it comes to actually fitting it into a real modern life.
Yeah. We're going to show you the physiological reasons why accumulating your movement is so much better, and why, as your recovery time starts to slow down a bit, consistency becomes so much more important than just raw intensity.
It's a total reframe of what fitness actually means for your long-term health.
It is.
So let's start there, at the failure point. Why does that traditional 1 hour workout, that all-or-nothing mindset, why does it fail so many of us? Why does it set us up for this loop of failure and guilt?
Well, the number one reason is just the rigidity of it. We call it the inconsistency trap.
The inconsistency trap.
Yeah. The sources are really clear on this. When you have these fixed, scheduled workout times, they clash with modern life, especially midlife. Think about your day. A meeting runs late.
Right.
You get an urgent call from your kid's school. A doctor's appointment pops up. What's the first thing that gets cut from the schedule?
The workout. Every time.
Every single time. And the minute that happens, the damage is done.
Oh, yeah, the mental damage. You think, well, that's it. The day's a write-off. I've failed.
Exactly. I might as well do nothing. It's that binary thinking, that all or nothing, that just kills your progress.
And it kills your consistency.
Absolutely. And the stats on this are, well, they're pretty brutal. We've found some clear evidence, I think it was from the Journal of Behavioral Medicine, that highlights these incredibly high dropout rates.
How high are we talking?
Over 50%. More than half of adults who start a structured exercise program, they just abandon it within 6 months.
50%. Wow.
And it comes right back to that rigidity. The programs demand this perfect scheduling that just doesn't work with the chaos of real life.
Okay, so a 50% failure rate. That tells me the system is the problem. It's not the people trying to follow it.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
The system is designed for a kind of perfect, idealized life that, who has that after their 20s?
Right.
But beyond just the scheduling problem, there's a physical cost we really need to talk about. And this is especially true for anyone listening who's over 45.
Okay.
As we get older, our recovery times, they just get longer.
Yeah.
Simple fact of biology. So something that felt great 15 years ago might actually feel, well, counterproductive now. A long, tough session can be a source of stress, not a source of relief.
Wait, I feel like I have to push back on that a little bit. I mean, we've all been told no pain, no gain our entire lives. If I don't feel completely wiped out after a long session, how do I know it even worked? Isn't that intensity what you need for real change?
That is such a pervasive myth from fitness culture, and it really works against long-term health. The key thing that changes after 45 is your recovery efficiency.
Okay, what does that mean?
So as we age, there are hormonal shifts. You get a gradual decline in things like growth hormone and testosterone. That just means the body's pathways for repairing muscle and tissue. They're not as fast as they used to be.
So you do that long, intense workout, you create all these little micro tears in the muscle.
And if your body can't repair them quickly, that stress just builds up. It accumulates.
So we're just not recovering as fast. Our body's always playing catch up.
Precisely.
Okay.
And now think about layering that physical stress on top of all the other chronic stress of midlife. You know, work pressure, financial stuff, not getting enough sleep.
Right.
When you push through a full hour of intense exercise, when you're already running on empty, you are basically screaming at your body that there's an emergency. And that spikes your cortisol levels.
And cortisol, that's the main stress hormone.
It's the primary one. It's how your body deals with what it thinks is a threat.
So if those cortisol levels stay high, which I guess they would if we're not recovering properly or just living a stressful life, what does that do to us long term, metabolically?
Well, chronically high cortisol is really, really bad for you. It directly messes with your metabolic function. It encourages your body to store fat, especially that dangerous visceral fat around your organs.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, it suppresses your immune system and it disrupts your sleep patterns. So you end up in this state of systemic burnout instead of building resilience. You're physically and hormonally just depleted. You're basically training yourself to be chronically stressed.
That makes so much sense. That explains why sometimes after a really huge gym session, you don't feel energized. A day or two later, you just feel completely wrecked.
You've crossed a line. You've gone from good stress, what we call eustress, into detrimental stress.
Right.
And this all ties into this idea of diminishing returns. There was research cited in the British Journal of Sports Medicine that showed this really clearly. After about 30 or 45 minutes of moderate exercise, your body starts to get fatigued.
And your form starts to go.
Your form degrades, you start using less efficient muscles to compensate, and the benefits you're getting are just not proportional to the effort you're putting in anymore. You might burn a few more calories, sure, but you're paying for it with a much longer recovery time and a higher risk of injury.
So it sounds like we're running right past the point of peak efficiency and into biological debt, especially if we're always fighting to fit that hour in.
Absolutely. So the real question we have to ask is this. What if you could get similar or even better fitness gains, the heart health, the metabolic benefits, the strength, not by making your workouts longer or harder, but just by doing them more frequently in little pieces that actually fit into your life?
And that's the whole foundation of the movement snack approach.
That's the foundation.
Okay, so if that all or nothing approach is failing more than half of us, we obviously need a big shift. Let's get into that shift. Let's talk about the movement snack. What is it exactly, and why is it so powerful?
It's actually incredibly simple. A movement snack is just a brief, bite-sized burst of activity. We're talking 5 to 10 minutes max.
5 to 10 minutes.
And the key thing, this is what makes it different from traditional exercise,
Yeah.
is that you integrate it directly into your daily routine. It is not a scheduled appointment that you have to prep for.
I really like that distinction, integration, not scheduling, because the second I schedule something, it feels like a chore. It feels like another thing on my to-do list that I can fail at.
Right.
But a snack, that sounds manageable. It sounds easy.
It is entirely manageable.
Okay.
And a huge part of this is accessibility. We're talking about movement that needs no special equipment, no changing into workout clothes, no travel time to a gym. You can do this in your kitchen, next to your desk, wherever you are. We're getting rid of all the barriers to entry.
So the sources say this isn't just a catchy name. There's real exercise physiology behind it. What's the core problem that movement snacks are designed to solve?
They're designed to fight something we call sedentary creep.
Sedentary creep.
Yeah, it's that slow, quiet accumulation of just sitting, unbroken sitting time. It's obviously a huge problem for desk workers, but it's also common for anyone who spends a lot of time reading or driving or even just managing a household.
Right.
You might go to the gym for an hour, but if you then sit for 8, 9, 10 hours straight, that long period of stillness can actually cancel out a lot of the benefits of that single workout.
So you're saying even if I crush a workout at 6 a.m., if I then sit at a desk all day, my body basically just flips an off switch on all those good metabolic processes. That's terrifying.
It is terrifyingly inefficient, yeah. When you're sedentary, your body suppresses key enzymes. There's one called lipoprotein lipase, or LPL, that's crucial for metabolizing fat.
Okay.
When LPL gets suppressed from sitting too long, your body's ability to pull fat out of your bloodstream just drops, even if you exercise that morning. But the beauty of a movement snack is it fights that sedentary creep by constantly interrupting the stillness.
Yeah.
You're injecting blood flow, you're activating your metabolism, you're engaging your muscles throughout the day, you're keeping your metabolic engine kind of idling instead of letting it shut down completely.
And that goes right to the heart of it, which is consistency. Because sticking with a routine is the hardest part for
Right?
everyone.
It's the single hardest part. And movement snacks get around that because they lower the barrier to entry so much.
hmm
The psychological resistance is almost zero. It's very hard for your brain to argue, oh, I don't have 5 minutes to do a few squats.
It turns that mountain of resistance into a tiny little molehill.
Exactly. It makes daily consistency feel almost effortless.
Yeah.
And that consistency is what fuels the science. These short bursts maintain your metabolic function. They regulate your energy so you don't get those big crashes in the afternoon.
Right.
And they build vitality over time without the exhaustion that comes from those massive one-off sessions that you need 2 days to recover from.
Yeah. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. Let's get into the concrete proof. The science that makes this approach not just convenient, but actually, superior for long-term health, especially after 45.
Okay, so this all hinges on a concept that sounds technical, but it's actually really simple. It's called NEAT,
Neat.
N-E-A-T. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Okay, that's a mouthful. What did that actually mean in the real world?
NEAT is basically all the energy you burn doing anything that isn't sleeping, eating, or a structured workout. It's standing up from your chair. It's pacing around when you're on the phone. It's fidgeting. It's taking the stairs, carrying groceries,
All the little movements.
all the little movements. And the Mayo Clinic did some really groundbreaking research on this. They found that if you consciously increase your NEAT with these short, frequent activities, you can boost your daily calorie movement by up to 350 calories.
Wait, 350 calories,
Yeah.
that's a huge number. That's basically the same as a dedicated 30-minute session on a stationary bike.
It's entirely comparable.
And you're getting that just by weaving small movements into your day. No gym membership, no sweating, no changing clothes.
Exactly. You're turning these little low-effort movements into a really significant caloric burn and, more importantly, sustained metabolic activation. And the sources all point to this. This frequent low-level activity is what really optimizes your health as you age. It's a constant, gentle stimulus that your body, especially your joints, really prefers over those big, infrequent spikes of intensity.
But is it just about burning calories? I mean, for a lot of our listeners, the main concerns are things like longevity, heart health. Does a 5-minute burst of NEAT really move the needle for your heart?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Because the benefits are cumulative. This is a huge mindset shift. We had to stop thinking about the duration of one session and start thinking about our total activity over a whole week. The Journal of the American College of Cardiology has the key statistic here. They found that if you accumulate at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, and this is the crucial part, in bouts as short as 10 minutes, you can reduce your risk of heart disease by 30% if you're over 45.
30%. So if I do 15 10-minute movement snacks spread out over the week, I hit that major guideline for reducing my heart disease risk.
You do. It completely validates this whole concept as a tool for preventative health. It totally reframes what efficiency means.
That's incredible.
And there's more. Frequent movement is also better for something called endothelial function. The endothelium is the inner lining of your blood vessels. When you move, you release nitric oxide, which keeps those vessels flexible and open.
So your heart doesn't have to work as hard.
It doesn't. And doing these little bursts throughout the day keeps that system active and elastic, which is so much better for your long-term cardiovascular health than one single big workout followed by 23 hours of sitting still.
Okay, beyond the heart, let's talk about metabolism and joints. Because blood sugar control and inflammation, those are huge battles as we get older.
They are, and this cumulative activity, especially breaking up those long periods of sitting, is critical for good blood sugar control. When you sit for a long time, your big muscles, your glutes, your legs, they become metabolically lazy. They get less sensitive to insulin.
Which forces your pancreas to work harder and your blood sugar goes up.
Exactly. But let's say you stand up and do a quick snack. What happens in that moment, physiologically?
What happens?
The second you engage those muscles, even for a few minutes of calf raises or squats, they immediately start demanding glucose for fuel. They pull it right out of your bloodstream.
So it's a mechanical
It's
process.
a mechanical action. And if you repeat that several times a day, you significantly improve your insulin sensitivity. And that leads to lower systemic inflammation, better management of conditions like type 2 diabetes, and even arthritis, which all become more common as we age.
So we're not just working our muscles, we're activating our whole body's cellular machinery to work better, to process energy more efficiently, all without that overwhelming stress of a giant workout.
Precisely. And for your joints, gentle, frequent movement is the best thing you can do. Joints are lubricated by something called synovial fluid. That fluid only moves and gets absorbed into the cartilage when you move the joint.
I see.
So movement snacks make sure that lubrication is happening all day long. It keeps the cartilage healthy and fights that painful stiffness. The cumulative effect just enhances your overall vitality without ever overloading the system.
Okay, this is the point where we have to shift from the why to the how. We need to give people actionable, specific steps. We have to make this feel completely achievable.
Right. This is the practical integration part. The goal here is to stop thinking about scheduling and start identifying moments that are already in your day where you're just idle. We call them snack windows.
Okay, let's break that down. Where are these snack windows? Where are the natural pauses in a person's day that they can use?
Think about all the times you're just waiting for something. Waiting for the kettle to boil. That's a solid 90-second window right there.
Okay.
Waiting for the microwave. Commercial breaks on TV. That's a 3-minute gold mine. Waiting for a big file to download at work or for a conference call to start. You're already there. You're already stuck. The barrier to adding a little bit of movement is basically zero.
So you're reframing that frustrating downtime into productive health time. And the goal is what? Aim for 3 to 5 of these snacks a day, 5 to 10 minutes each.
That's the perfect starting target. Very manageable.
Let's get into the specifics from the sources. The Focus 5, the foundational snacks that don't require any equipment or a lot of thought.
Okay, let's start with the morning routine. An easy way to get some gentle cardio.
How do you do that?
The teeth brushing challenge. While you're brushing your teeth, just march in place. Or do some high knees. You're already standing there for 2 minutes, so why not get the blood flowing and activate your core? It takes 0 extra time.
That's brilliant. Okay, now for all the people stuck on conference calls or at a desk all day, we need something discreet.
Seated leg lifts. Or even better, just isometric glute squeezes. Nobody can see what you're doing under the desk. The leg lifts engage your hip flexors and your core, which are the muscles that get weak when we sit, and that helps your posture when you do finally stand up.
That directly fights that sedentary creep.
Okay, what about when you're in the kitchen waiting for the microwave to ding? You've got maybe 90 seconds.
Perfect window for a strength snack. The bodyweight squat. But for anyone over 45, form is so much more important than how many you do.
Right. Knee safety.
Exactly. Don't let your knees track out over your toes. You can hold onto a chair or the countertop for balance. Just think about sitting back into a low stool, slow and controlled. A few sets of those while your lunch is heating up is a huge win for strength.
That safety tip is key. And what about upper body strength? That tends to go pretty quickly as we age. Wall push-ups. They're low impact, easy to modify. Just stand at arm's length from a solid wall, hands a bit wider than your shoulders, and push. It works your chest, shoulders, and triceps, and you don't have the risks of being on the floor or lifting heavy weights.
You can just do a few every time you go to get a glass of water.
Perfect.
Okay, those are 4 great friction-free ideas. What about a quick cardio boost during a break?
If you have stairs, stair climbing is the perfect little microburst of intensity. Just up and down once or twice. It gets your heart rate up immediately and works all those big leg and glute muscles.
And if you don't have stairs, or maybe you just need a mental break from work,
A short, brisk walk around the block around your office building. The key is to combine it with deep, intentional breathing. That turns it from just a physical snack into a mindfulness snack. It resets your nervous system, cuts down on stress, and helps you focus.
we have to talk about joint concerns because that's so relevant for our listeners. If someone has chronic stiffness or arthritis, some of those strength moves might seem a bit much.
Then they should prioritize flexibility and mobility snacks. Use those 5-minute windows for gentle range of motion work. That means slow, controlled neck and shoulder rolls to get rid of tension from sitting. Gentle hip circles, ankle rotations.
Right.
These movements get that synovial fluid moving, they maintain your joint health, and they fight stiffness without any impact. Doing that a few times a day is so much better than one long static stretching session once a week.
I think a big barrier for people starting any new routine is tracking it. It becomes this stressful chore. How do we log progress here without adding stress?
The sources all say the same thing. Keep it simple. The goal is to build the habit, not to generate a bunch of data. You can just make a tally mark on a sticky note or set a few reminders on your phone. If you hit your 5 snacks, move the sticky note from one side of your monitor to the other. That little physical act of acknowledging success is really powerful.
So we have the science, we have the how-to. Now let's talk about the emotional payoff. Because
ahead.
getting rid of that rigid, guilt-filled, hour-long grind has to be transformative for your mental health.
Oh, it's a huge mindset shift. When you take that pressure off, a bunch of really tangible things happen that help stabilize your energy and your mood.
Let's talk about that stable energy. So many people rely on coffee or sugar to get through that 3 p.m. slump.
That slump is often caused by a combination of poor blood sugar control and the metabolic slowdown from sitting all day. Movement snacks get rid of those dramatic peaks and valleys you get from big, infrequent workouts. You're constantly engaging your body, keeping your metabolism humming at a low level. Your energy just stays much more stable.
And the sources specifically connected this type of consistent low-level activity to better sleep.
They did. Research from, I believe it was Sleep Medicine Reviews, confirms that these short, consistent activities are great for regulating your stress hormones. You avoid that big cortisol spike from an intense evening workout, so your body can actually wind down at night.
I see.
And you combine that hormonal balance with the endorphins and serotonin you get from the movement itself. It all leads to less anxiety, clearer thinking, and deeper, more restful sleep.
So this is a system where fitness finally starts supporting your life instead of competing with it. The fear of failure is just gone.
It's the perfect antidote to the all-or-nothing trap. If you miss a scheduled workout, you feel like you failed the whole day. If you miss a movement snack,
Yeah.
you just do one in the next window.
Yeah.
Or you do an extra one tomorrow. The stakes are so low, which is what keeps you consistent.
And there was a really interesting point in the research about an unexpected benefit, better relationship.
Yes, the exhaustion hangover.
Mm.
If you aren't completely drained from a massive workout and you're not mentally stressed about trying to reschedule a missed one, you just have more emotional energy for the people in your life. You're more present.
That's a huge social benefit.
A huge ripple effect.
Okay, let's cover some common pitfalls. You highlighted 3 big mistakes people over 45 need to avoid to make the system work.
Right. Mistake number 1, and this is the most important one, overdoing the intensity.
Mm.
Because we've been brainwashed by fitness culture to think that only pain and suffering count, a lot of people try to turn a 5-minute snack into a 5-minute all-out HII session.
But if I only have 5 minutes, isn't that what I should do? Maximize the effort.
It's a dangerous approach here. Because of those changes in recovery we talked about, if you're over 45, pushing too hard in a short window can lead to strains, unnecessary soreness, and inflammation that just makes you feel worse for the rest of the day.
So the goal is stimulus, not annihilation.
Exactly. The goal is consistent stimulus.
Mm.
If you're sore the next day, you overdid your snack. Keep the effort level at a sustainable, 6 out of 10.
Okay, that's critical. Mistake number 2 is the mental one, the "it doesn't count" myth.
This is the big mindset battle. You have to actively fight that little voice in your head that says only sweat and pain matter. You have to fight it with the data.
Right.
I like to use a money analogy. You wouldn't say that saving $5 a day doesn't count. You know that over time, with compounding interest, it becomes a huge amount. It's the same with your health. The science shows these short bouts add up to significant, measurable improvements.
Small deposits, massive returns, love that. And the third mistake, lack of variety.
Yes. If all you ever do is march on the spot, you're going to get bored, but you're also going to create physical imbalances.
Right.
You have to mix it up. Your week should have a blend of cardio, strength, and flexibility snacks. That way you're hitting all your major muscle groups, you're maintaining your range of motion, and you're preventing the mental burnout that makes people quit.
So to help with that, let's quickly run through that sample weekly plan from the sources. This isn't a rigid schedule, it's more of a guide.
It's just a guide for balanced goals. The target is still 3 to 5 snacks a day for about 30 to 50 total minutes of movement.
So Monday is for energy. That's your marching in place while the coffee brews, your seated leg lifts on calls.
Tuesday is for strength. That's when you do your wall push-ups, your counter squats, maybe some chair dips. You're maintaining muscle.
Wednesday is cardio day. That's your stair climbs a few times throughout the day, or those brisk walks outside.
Thursday, you shift to flexibility and mobility. This is your joint insurance day. Neck rolls, ankle circles, gentle yoga poses.
Friday is a mix and match mindfulness day, maybe a walk with some deep breathing to de-stress before the weekend.
And the weekend is for active recovery. Weave movement into your hobbies. Gardening, playing with your kids or grandkids, dancing in the kitchen. Make it joyful.
And the best tip for making this a real habit is to pair the snack with something you already do every day.
Exactly. Habit stacking. If you always have a cup of coffee at 10 a.m., that's the trigger for your wall push-up snack. If you always watch the evening news, the commercial break is the trigger for your stretching snack. You take motivation out of the equation.
It just becomes automatic.
It becomes automatic, and consistency becomes effortless.
As we wrap this up, the big takeaway for me is just so clear. Movement snacks are a better system than the old, rigid workout model for sustainable health, especially as we get older.
It's a huge paradigm shift. We're moving away from this culture of punishment and guilt and toward the power of small, consistent actions that build up over time. It's about supporting your life, not dominating it.
Yeah, and we just want to reinforce that key idea. You don't have to struggle to fit this in. The research shows that 5 or 10 minutes absolutely counts, and it adds up to something really powerful over a week, a month, a lifetime.
It really is an act of self-kindness. You're replacing that chronic guilt with something that's effortless and functional. Fitness should serve you, not the other way around.
So we want to leave you with a final thought today, a question to help you build on this new mindset.
We want you to think about your motivation. If your current approach to fitness is all about external goals, losing 10 pounds, looking a certain way, hitting a number on a machine, we want you to reflect on this.
What is one small movement you can commit to doing today that is purely for the simple, immediate joy of just feeling better in your own body?
Just for that reason, nothing else.
Find that one snack window, commit to that one small action, and start your journey towards a kind of movement that supports and sustains you for years to come. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.